Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, beef. Yeah.
Right, where he's wondering he's like, I
Patty to patty.
He won style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro. Like,
yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate. In a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. I am your host, Bodkins, baby. Man, happy Sunday to you. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. We're settling down, getting ready to, kind of get ready back to the grind of the week tomorrow. But, my weekend was pretty straight. Yesterday, busy day, kids back in soccer. Oldest boy went to prom, mowed the grass, just doing all that good stuff. Watched the incredible fights last night. We'll obviously me and Bobby Bluntz will be talking about that on Wednesday, but incredible night today. We caught the end of the Masters. Roy McIlroy wins back-to-back green jackets, so that was cool. But Sundays we always we're trying to get back into just kind of looking at the NFL season that was and the NFL season that's going to be. The draft's right around the corner. So we're trying to just, hit up throughout the offseason, hit up different content creators, different fans. So if you're a content creator, if you're a fan of a certain team, please hit me up. My DMs are always open. Let's get it on the books. Let's talk your team. Let's talk your sports. Let's just have some conversation. Let's have some fun. So tonight's no different though. Tonight we are represented. It will be representing the Washington Commanders. You can catch him on the Rec Room Sports hub, as many of my other friends are on the program. So let's just say friend of a friend, a brother of a brother of a brother. My brother's, wit. His brother is his brother as well. None other than Jay the M.I.C. baby.
What is up? What's going on, Bodkins?
Hey Jay, hey, welcome. First time guest on the Bodkins Show. I appreciate you joining me tonight. Jay, let's jump right to it, man. I just kind of want to know, what led you to be a Commanders fan first before we get into the actual team. Let's learn about Jay the M.I.C. and kind of how he has developed into this Commanders fandom.
Man, my story is just I'm an escaped captive of the New York Giants. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much I'm an LT. Pretty much LT was my earliest memory of football. And I guess when you grow up as a kid and you watch LT, you think football is always going to be like that. So when I escaped New York, I pretty much felt like I always wanted to be a Redskins fan, because when LT retired, I pretty much retired being a Giants fan as far as I'm concerned. I was like, yeah, you quit, I quit. That was it for me. So moved down south, and it was like, for some reason, I always wanted to do my own thing. So I just wanted to be a Commanders fan or a Redskins fan. I liked the Fun Bunch. Art Monk was the dude. I mean, kind of telling my age, but they were very dominant outside of the Giants and the little for the Cowboys that they had in the 90s or whatever. But it was pretty much back and forth, like Redskins, and Giants. So yeah, I just saw 12. Pretty much said, you know what, that's it. I'm gonna be a Redskins fan from here on out. Tired of being like Giants, Everybody in my family. So, yeah, I just wanted to do something different, man.
Out of all the teams, you picked the Commanders, and I mean they had. I'm sure it's in the early days, like you mentioned, they've had a lot of success. It's been a lot of downs and maybe one or two up seasons since then, though.
Right, right. But hey, it seemed like once I started liking them, that's when I think Snyder bought them the
Yeah,
following year. So it was like I just caught the wrong. I caught a stray, man. I caught a stray, man. It just I jumped in. It was like, hey, what's the party about? Pew, and that was it.
the
Dan
party
Snyder
was
came
over.
in.
Party was
Yeah,
over. Jay. Party
yeah.
was over.
So
There wasn't many parties, but it seems to be, now Snyder's gone. It's been 3 years since he's been gone. This will be three years now.
right. This is the third. I think this is the third completed. The third. Yeah, this is third.
Right. So then
So
you got Dan Quinn going into his third year this coming season. And it seems like they're on the right track. You got they're building a new stadium back downtown in RFK, where RFK kind of used to be.
thank goodness. Yes, yes, and
It'll
just
really be Washington's team again.
yes. It brings back a lot of nostalgia, man, for a lot of fans. I mean, even the owner. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to even down to the coach. They have fond memories of the glory days, so to say. So just bringing all of that back, having a state of the art facility, and then the whole environment around it, which is the big thing nowadays, which is you just can't have a stadium. You got to have stadium, you got to have shopping, you got to have restaurants, you got to have apartments,
Right.
So all of that is pretty much coming into play. So
You got to
it's
have all that
exciting.
atmosphere around it. Like that's
Right.
what I mean. Like there's bars and things like that. You got to be able to build up the city and make people want to stay down there and spend money.
Exactly. Being a fan of like the Battery in Atlanta, so to hear that they want to put so much into the surrounding area it sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, Jay, let's get into this past season. It wasn't, you guys, I think, had high hopes coming off that NFC Championship game. A lot of people maybe might have picked you to win the division, but it wasn't meant to be. You guys got hit with the injury bug, finished third in the division, only 5 wins, and it doesn't, seems a lot more question marks coming into this coming season. But your thoughts on the season that was for the Commanders?
Unfortunate. I mean, it's as far as like injuries are concerned. It's just, when you just like you said, pretty much when you see the result, you get excited about going into the next season. We caught some breaks along the way. So, we knew we weren't going to be as lucky. Ending up with a 5-12 season, you cannot win the games that we won in the past the same way. We got to have dominant victories. So I mean, just with injuries and just the I would want to say just the unluckiness of Jaden Daniels. So many, I guess, we got Bobby Wagner gone. Well, pretty much out there still as a free agent, so we don't know, what's going to happen with that. Well, we got a lot of new faces, man, going into this season, and so it's with the draft. We only have 6 draft picks. The fact that we do have a lot of cap space, so it's still excited going into the draft because you think we could probably pull off some deals, maybe even improve the offense some. But I'm optimistic, man. Just hoping that we were just unlucky last season. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I always say there's always seasons and teams like the ball bounces their way, right? Like for whatever reason, the ball back. You got the horseshoe. I always said like the Minnesota Vikings, not this year, but in years past, have had like a horseshoe up their ass, where it's just like the ball bounces their way. I think that kind of happened for the Commanders the year before. Like you obviously lower schedule, right? Because you were a bad team the year before, so easier schedule. Then the year 2 here, like you got the injuries, tougher schedule. Ball doesn't kind of bounce your way as many times, and then you fall to 5-12. The offense was the offense just bad because like Jaden Daniels wasn't there all season. It was Marcus Mariota a lot of times. Like you guys finished 22nd in the NFL with only 20 points per game. Like in today's NFL, that ain't going to cut it, Jay.
No. You look at the time that we did have Mariota out there. I was a little optimistic the way the offense was ran, even though we lost some close ones. Um, I don't know. It just rests on Jaden Daniels, man. I think the key to success was the fact I feel like the offensive, as far as the wide receiver room, when we were most successful with Jaden Daniels, I feel like we should not have broken that up. You know, it was going to be a money thing with like Diami Brown, who we actually getting back this season. But with me, I think a vital, I guess a vital guy was Lamine Zacchaeus, if I said his name correctly. But Zacchaeus, who is now a Falcon, which I felt we could have got him in free agency. I feel like that chemistry got messed up, man, and that was the start of it all. And then
It,
McLaurin didn't have much time. It was going into preseason, so it just I think that messed up a lot with Jaden Daniels, man, as far as the offense is concerned. And defense, we just couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah, and now the defense coordinator. It sounds like now Dan Quinn's gonna call the games for now on going forward, I think. And then I do believe, now new OC is gone. Kingsbury's gone as well. Do you think like that's going to mess up the offense? Now Daniels is learning second offense in year 3 here, also coming off of some injuries.
Well, one thing we know for sure that this is on Dan Quinn because he went with two inexperienced guys, I would say. With Blau, we got an offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. So with like I said, David Blau and Durante Jones. This is all on Dan Quinn. This is it for him. I mean, like as far as starting off on the hot seat, I don't know if you want to say like should you go with veteran guys as far as your coordinators are concerned, well proven guys. I don't think there was much available out there. So everybody's looking for that new innovative person. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we've actually hit it. We let McVay walk out the door. We let Shanahan walk out the door. We let so many guys, like 6 guys, who actually,
Matt LaFleur out the door.
We let your coach out the door. So
all those guys were in Washington at one point in time.
So can we get that in return? Like, hey, yeah, can it just when you say you lose it, like you get it back. Like, can we get it back? Can we get something back with that? So that's a big thing, man. It's all on Dan Quinn because if these coordinators don't hit,
is Dan Quinn, you think, maybe on the hot seat going into the year?
Definitely. He starts off. I don't think he starts off. I mean, we have so much turnover. We have 10, 11 guys and like in new places. So everybody's pretty much optimistic. I think nobody is on a hotter seat than Aaron Glenn. So, I think Dan Quinn probably is like the number 2 or number 3 guy, as far as on the hot seat. So, I mean, again, when you make that decision to go, you saw it with the Falcons. Raheem went out there and he got pretty much guys who don't have, who didn't have any experience being coordinators when he could have went with veteran guys just to push the point, just to put the main thing, keep it the main thing. And they just made it too complicated. So like hopefully this like I said, it proves right for us.
I've heard rumors, and I don't know, is Brandon Ayuk maybe on his way? I know him and Daniels played together at Arizona State. It seemed like that's, kind of his guy. Do you want a 49er reunion, I guess, with Debo as well there?
I mean, you hope it's a healthy situation. The way, we looked at it he ended with the 49ers, it wasn't good. He skipped rehab. Like,
right.
What's going on here? Like when you skipping rehab, like, okay, like explain to me, behind the scenes, like, hey, I'm taking care of this. This is, some type of documentation. I'm taking care of myself. I just didn't want to be around that facility. Okay, I could understand, but like, what's the story with that? So when you're getting a guy like that, like it's like, what are we getting? He's a good talent, hasn't played in quite some time, but McLaurin could use some help on the outside. He definitely could use some help on the outside. He will prove vital.
You guys went out and added quite a bit on the defense. You guys are actually one of the oldest teams last year. And you guys went out and added like Nick Cross, Amik Robinson, Odofe Owe, and some people might even say like maybe a little. Like you said, you guys had a lot of salary cap. Maybe spent quite a bit, especially on Odofe, 100 million, 68 million guaranteed. What do you think is like gonna? What does the team need to do? Kind of build this bridge to kind of get back, maybe not the NFC Championship game, but kind of back into contention in this division and maybe the playoffs again.
Even on the edge, like with everybody you just mentioned, and then Chase on, and then and I believe we got one other guy. We got so many guys now that I know I gotta get the pronunciations of these last names, or really these full names, because you got Chig Okonkwo, so it's like he's always been a little easier, but like we got a lot of guys, a few guys on the edge that have been great rotational players. What are we gonna do with our seventh pick? I mean, look, like edge, we need help on the edge, and we need secondary help. So, with all these, the veterans that we do have coming in, they have been productive. It's good to see Peters not wasting the bag on guys that you look pretty much tossed around, man. And it's like, damn, he's still getting this much money. Like Kirk Cousins, for one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, they still decided to pay you this much, even though this is like a situation.
I'd love to be his agent. If I'm an NFL player, I want Kirk Cousins' agent as my agent.
So it's some good guys, man. Leo Chenal from the Chiefs, pretty much we signed him to 3 years. So it's like these are guys that we see being around for a little while. But
Alan says Bain or Downs at 7 if a team doesn't trade up.
You know what? I'm going Downs. I hate to say it because he's an Ohio State guy, and I'm a Miami guy, but I'm gonna go with Downs, man. I mean, Sonny Styles isn't a bad choice. It's like when you draft that high, like you're trying to hit on a generational player, man. Hopefully, not just somebody that can just be a Pro Bowler. You're trying to really like swing for the fences. So it's who provides that. Because I'm thinking even Love, man. Like, will Love fall? Like, I don't think he will.
He could. I mean, Bijan went 6 or 7. I can't quite remember, but right around that time. You guys really think you need a running back? I mean, you got Bill.
We got Jerome Ford, and then we got Rashad White.
Austin Eckler.
No, well, nah. Eckler's he's done.
He's done.
Pretty much. I mean, I think he's pretty much just when you see the TV career going the way it is, and you've seen him on TV, it's like he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think he's pretty much getting himself ready for especially with the running back room, the guys that I just named, like those are guys who were pretty much like either 1 or 2.
Yeah.
On that, Jerome Ford was getting a lot of burn. We lost Chris Rodriguez, but Rashad White, I mean, same thing. He was getting a lot of burn. It's just like he was featured at times. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I think that's it for Eckler, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot you signed Rashad White out of Tampa Bay in the offseason.
Yeah, right. So it's but you're getting Love. I mean, if Love is available, like, do you pass on that?
Yeah, I would. I just don't
want to say it'd be a mistake, but
I just don't think that if I can get a top tier defensive player, I'm probably doing that. Running backs don't last. We both know running backs don't really last a whole lot long unless they are super generational. But we're talking 5-6 seasons where I'd rather get maybe a defensive guy that's going to be the anchor of my defense for years to come. And I don't know what you might have more insight. What's your guys' offensive line like? Like, I don't want to draft a good running back if I have a shit offensive line.
I mean, for some reason we obviously have a lot of confidence in the guys that we have.
Yeah, I mean, he
we
did get
signed
trade for last year, kid out of Texas, Jeremy Tunzel.
right, and then
Yeah, me and Jeremy, we do the same thing a lot together. You know what I mean? But not together, but differently.
but we didn't get any guys. We re-signed him, but we didn't really pretty much get anybody out in free agency. Which and then both. But the thing is, we pretty much cut. Surprising to cut. Pretty much get rid of Biotis.
Yeah,
Biotis. That was surprising at center. So it's like, is it because when, I think at times he was hurt and we had somebody out here to actually put that time in and we can actually afford to shed that money strategically, then I'm with it. I'm with it. But yeah, I mean, on the offensive line, I think we'll be all right.
yeah. If you got a decent offensive line, taking a running back that early is all right. But I just think you guys have more needs than the running back. And I'm probably, your defense is older and aging, so I'm probably trying to get younger and better out the defensive end.
So and then I mean, Sonny Styles, like, the same thing for that. Like, do you pass up? You at 7 and Sonny Styles is available. Do you Caleb? Like, I don't see all of these guys being an option
Yeah.
at 7.
Yeah. Here's the thing I always say about the draft and all the rooms. Nobody knows shit about fuck, and there's more smoke. There's more smoke in the draft than a Snoop Dogg contest. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it as.
I don't know, like at 7, who's gonna even be available for the guys? All the guys that the pundits I would say we're gonna get. Who's gonna actually be available at 7?
Right.
I don't think any of them.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, we get one guy.
You'll get one, right? Because there's 10 guys.
There's
probably 10 guys that they're saying, and you'll find one at 7. You know what I mean? I'll tell you, it's not going to be Mendoza. You know what I mean? That's the only answer, right? Because he's going to the Raiders. After that, it sounds like everything's a question mark.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I don't know. Like, I don't want Love. I don't want to draft a running back that high. But if he goes out there and becomes one of those guys that I don't think Bijan Robinson, like, what you're getting when you say I'm a draft this player.
Yeah.
I don't think Love is that guy.
You think
what I mean?
You don't think he's good as Bijan?
Nah.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. But that guy, I don't think he's that guy to say, we're gonna take him and we're gonna move on with our offense.
I think Love is probably top 10, but I don't. If I'm the Commanders, if I'm sitting you guys at 7 and he's there, I'm probably not taking him.
No. How do you feel about kid out of Texas Tech?
The receiver?
No. The edge, guy on the edge. I don't know his name is escaping me.
Yeah.
I don't think out of 7 guys, like I don't think anybody who people think that was going to be available to us, I don't think they're going to follow us.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's either edge or corner or some help in the secondary.
Because you mentioned you only got a couple picks, 6 picks. Do you think you trade back and maybe collect a few?
That's an option. That's I think that's the unpopular thing to do, but that's always an option with 6 picks. And then when you do it, you got to look at who's available. When you look at Downs, when you look at Sonny Styles, when you look at Love, you look at I say this guy's escapes me from out of Texas Tech, I believe, on the edge. Yeah, I think you do it.
Yeah.
I think you do it. How can we make the team better from 5 and 12, no matter what we talk about injury or anything like that? I think that is a strong option, but I don't think a lot of people are gonna like it based on who else is out there available. I mean, there's so much depth at linebacker. I mean, we don't need the kid out of Oregon at tight end. So I mean, I think there'll be some options definitely at linebacker and at cornerback for what we need.
Do you think let me ask you, you mentioned it earlier about the coach being on the hot seat. What's your kind of expectations here going into, the 20 I know it's super early, it's April whatever, April 12th. What's your expectations going into this year? Is it playoffs or bust, and then and Dan gets fired, or what's your expectations going into this season?
I mean, for Dan Quinn's sake, that we look as pretty consistent as a team. I mean, record wise, you want to see a big improvement from. I mean, we weren't like world beaters out there as far as our record going into the like week 7 of week 6, week 7 of like 2 seasons ago. The run that we went on. So like I would say I'm not even thinking 10 wins right now, but I at least want to show some type of consistency on offense. You know what I'm saying? And we can't stop nobody. Like if we can show consistency on offense, like that sort of helps, but that's not what Dan Quinn was brought in for. So like that still kind of puts him in the wrong and his job on the line. But I mean maybe 10 wins. Maybe 10 wins at best. At
So you think
best.
want 10 wins going into this season?
Yeah.
That's a high ceiling.
It's kind of yeah, it is, but I think a lot will come in. I don't we said it is kind of early. We're not looking at the exact schedule right now. I think that plays big. I think our division will be a little stronger than previous years all the way around.
I do too. I think I like
So
what the Giants did. I think the Eagles be a question mark because it seems like they're about to self implode, but and then the Cowboys should be better, are just as good, I think.
I mean they have 2 first round picks. Was it
Yeah.
12 and 20 or 12 and 22?
Yeah, I think so.
So I I can't see the expectation I have is 10 wins. Are we gonna win 10 games? You know what I'm saying? That's hard to put out there. But when you have somebody that was as successful as Jaden Daniel was going into the end of that season, and
He's
having the
got to
type of
stay
season,
healthy though, and that's been a question mark of even his time in college.
I mean, he has to reestablish himself. I mean,
Yeah.
that season right now could just be known as a fluke for all we know.
Much like
So
CJ Stroud.
and we see how that when you fail that royally in the playoffs after the potential that everybody has spoke on
Yeah.
week in and week out to go out there in the playoffs like that and drop a bomb like that again I'm not an Ohio State guy. I'm definitely not that, but to see somebody that I was right about, like I don't know, it's a thing with me with Ohio State quarterbacks,
Yeah, I
and
mean
I hate to like poop on them, but
they
I
just
mean,
ain't panned out very well.
yeah, a lot of people was calling like Fields a Hall of Famer, like the game ball from maybe that like 200-yard game, that I think he rushed for like a few seasons ago. Maybe that's gonna go into the Hall of Fame, but not just the Fields.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But yeah.
Speaking of Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's got to be the guy, right? Like, I mean, is he a guy? Is he the guy that's kind of can lead this, team and franchise? You guys have been snake bitten by, multiple quarterbacks, throughout the last 30 years or so.
Yeah, I mean,
They
you
really
playing.
haven't really nailed the position down in 30 years, if you think about it, right? Like, I mean, you thought RG3, and then obviously he blows out his knee in that playoff game, was never really the same. And it just hasn't, you haven't had like the franchise guy.
I mean, that's pretty big, to get that guy, that franchise guy. Like, when you get, you ended up getting up like Jordan Love, how you ended up getting him. It's like,
Right.
you got your franchise guy. With Jaden Daniels, you say, okay, this is our franchise guy, but when we talk about the injuries, like, you don't want to just keep harping on like being put in that situation again, but we don't want to be in that situation like ever again, where we get a guy with so much promise and we can't get anything out of him. That's it. After that, like that's it. Like, hey,
Yeah.
look at me. You know what? Y'all gonna have to draft another quarterback, just like that. And that's not a good feeling. So I mean, with him, it's definitely injury. Like, can he stay healthy? He looks like he's been taking care of himself, man. You
Yeah.
know,
I think a lot of it was just banged up injuries and things like that. Jay, let me ask you, that we kind of wrapped up the Commanders, and we'll get into the Mount Rushmore here kind of in the show in a little bit. But what is your favorite memory of being a Commander fan?
honestly, I guess it was actually seeing a Miami Hurricane. And I've seen a few, but a Miami Hurricane, like be a Washington Redskin, and that was Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
I think at that time, and of course the RG3 thing, the whole phenomenon was like a grand time. I would still say that the times that I watched Sean Taylor play, like like knowing that a guy can, you know,
Oh, he
I
was
think
one
we
of
talked
one.
about this
Yeah.
before. I swore we talked about this before, but at that game that he could have picked off like Brett Favre like 5 times or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just to see the type of athleticism that he played with, and to see that where he was going in his career. I felt I've been so excited. I always been so excited to see one of my college favorites off of my team end up going to my, like, Caleb Love right now for Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Like how they ended up in basketball, like how that worked out. Carolina, Portland. And yeah, I love to
You
see
got
that.
teams all over the world. How is that? You're a Commanders fan, a Canes fan, a Duke fan, and a
No,
Trailblazer
not a Duke fan, man.
or
Never a
North
Duke
Carolina
fan.
fan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but with it's crazy. I watched a lot of sports when I was younger, and I looked at the dumbest things and was like, you know what? That's my team. And like the dumbest things, like for real, like the Trailblazers when they beat up on Jordan. I mean, when Jordan beat up on them in the playoff in the finals, and he did the shoulder shrug, and you
Yeah.
see, rest in peace, Cliff Robinson, man. But when you see his look on his face, I was like, dang. And you looked at the athleticism of that team and the type of talent that they had,
Yeah. Clyde Drexler,
and
Cliff. Yeah.
it was the only team that wore black.
Terry Porter. Yeah.
That was the only team that wore black.
Back
I
then,
was like,
I guess so.
yeah,
Probably back then for sure. Yeah.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, they wear black. Yo, I'm gonna be a fan, man. I don't care if they lost, man. They got a good team. I'm gonna be a fan of that. That's how I became a Portland Trailblazers fan. It's just so dumb. And you got to see like dunks, like the highlight,
Yeah. Yeah.
dunks or whatever. You like the tapes. You always see Clyde Drexler in there. Always see Clyde Drexler doing his thing a different type of way. But everything else, man. I mean, Miami football. Everything has a funny story. Like a kid I know from my neighborhood in New York, he used to wear a Miami. He used to wear
Cane.
Clemson
Yeah.
and Miami stuff. He was an actual recruit, and
Oh shit.
I used to like they used to play football, and he used to always have an orange Clemson shirt and a Miami hoodie or shirt or something like that. And I used to think that Clemson was actually in California because of Death Valley in California. I used to think I'm
Yeah.
thinking the real Death Valley when they see he's like, yeah, man, Death Valley. So that's another thing. Like, and then he ended up going to Miami, and that's how I became a Miami fan. And because he like it was cool green and orange, like the way that meshed me style wise, I was like,
Well, then
yeah,
they at the time, late '80s, early '90s, they were the best team, one of the best teams in the nation. Constantly. Then they had
right.
the run in the '90s and the early 2000s. And now finally, it looks like I think the U is back, Jay.
I mean, hey, we'll see. I mean, we
I mean, they
just
were in the
saw.
title game. They were one play away from winning the national title.
Yeah, it's not like we made it to the Super Bowl as far as Washington is concerned, but we made it to the NFC Championship game, and to have a 5-12 season the following season, like, do we even deserve to even be there? Did we even
I
deserve to
think
be?
I think you got
You
the right
know,
people. Yeah, I think you got the
so
right people. Yeah, Mario
that's
Cristobal seems like a good coach.
yeah. And Mike Irvin is on the warpath. I like to see him on the recruiting trail. Like that's pretty cool. The things that they've been doing,
Yeah,
in the area, trying to
they're
get
bringing
those
all
those
the old
Florida
U back.
guys.
Yeah, yeah, I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you because I think, and you can really say this for any one of your teams, but to me, like, not when you become a fan, it's not to me the wins, but the losses, right? The devastating losses stick with you more than they do the wins, right? Like it's like because like that's what you remember. You remember your heart being ripped out, and to me, like that's what makes more of you a fan than like when you're with the team when they're winning. Is when like you get that devastating like heartbreak loss, or you're just devastated because you couldn't believe that happened. What to you is the most devastating loss that you've had to encounter?
Man, I would easily say, honestly, you look at Miami's loss, as a Commanders fan or as a fan of the
You can
sports.
both. You can say both. You can do both.
Wow. Uh, I guess real quick, the most devastating loss. I have to take it away from football, and it will be the Trailblazers losing that lead of 16 points, man, going into like in the
Oh yeah,
games
yeah.
that
Game 6 or game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
yeah
Or
that
Shaq and
game
Kobe the
7,
alley oop.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
that hurt.
yeah,
To see the way we, and the Jailblazers thing is coming out soon, so
yeah.
I want to
Next week
hear.
on
I,
Netflix. Yeah,
yeah, I've actually heard like some of the script on it, and that going into that 16 point, that at around that time, Rasheed Wallace, they say he Scottie Pippen say he regrets it, and it's like they pretty much alluded, to get some kind of type of clickbait going into the promotion of it. And he
yeah.
basically talked about how Rasheed Wallace was like, man, forget that play he running. Like, I'm not doing that. We're not gonna do that. And he said he should have been a better leader because he went with Rasheed Wallace instead of going with what Coach Dunleavy called. And he said that, who knows, that actually cost you 16 points, but that was pretty bad to watch, man. That was hard to watch. That was very hard.
What about the Commanders? Any toughest loss for the Commanders that come to mind?
It's been a lot so far. I mean, it's been too many to name.
Yeah.
It's been too many to name. Like I most of our losses, man, we lost. We knew we was gonna be losing early in the game. We didn't have too many close games to really,
Right. I
really
guess, or it
be
could just be
into.
like, I mean, even like I think the RG, maybe not lost, but just even the injury to RG3, right? That's something that you probably gonna remember.
See, I don't want to go into those type of memories right now. So I'm thinking of like a game. Yeah, that's like as far as a game, the result of a game like hurting me. Whew, it's too many to choose from. Okay, you know what? For right now, I'm gonna be honest because like a lot of things that stick out in my memory, and I could probably go back into like if you would have, who knows if I'd have had a little bit more time to think on that, I could definitely pull one, out. But I would say the most recent that I know of that hurt me the most, the thing that hurt me the most was when they passed up on Christian Gonzalez in the draft.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, to see them pass up on Christian Gonzalez in the draft, Ron Rivera, he's on his way out. He thought Emmanuel Forbes was going to be a better player than Christian Gonzalez. You know what I'm saying? And that's
We see how
ridiculous,
that worked
man.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt.
No, I
That
mean I
hurt.
get it. The Packers could have drafted Barry Sanders instead of they drafted Tony Mandarich.
It's so many, it's so many different things that
Like imagine a team with Brett Favre and Barry Sanders on it. And they would have had Sterling Sharp at that point in time.
Brett Favre had Ahman Green, right?
Yeah, at the end of his career, middle to end of his career, yeah.
I don't know how, a lot of what ifs.
Right,
If
right.
was a
It's just
fifth,
yeah,
like
those things.
yeah,
It's just always funny how those things you look back and like, damn man, the Packers were close to drafting Justin Jefferson, but the Vikings traded up right before us. Like they all were all trying to get. We were trying to get Justin Jefferson.
it's
Aaron
so many
Rodgers,
letdowns, man.
that would
Just
have been
being a
great.
Commanders fan.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jay, let's jump into it. It's everybody's favorite segment. It is the Mount Rushmore. Just give me you give me your Mount Rushmore commanders, and I'll give you mine. It can be players and coaches. I want to know the players that you've seen because I don't. That's kind of always my my caveats. Like, give me players that you've seen because it's. I don't want to know Sammy Baugh and shit like that. You know what I mean? I want to know guys that you've seen. You know what I mean?
So I hate to leave. Can I give one of like actual spot to like a like a group of people? And I'll say it now. Like, how can the Hogs get in as one spot?
Nah, man, we gotta
No.
do.
Okay.
You can give him an honorable mention. We can do some honorable mentions after we're our top four here. But give me your top. Give me your Mount Rushmore.
I mean, I guess I'll go with Russ Grimm. It would
Okay.
be, and he would represent the Hogs. I guess
Okay.
because I guess the only one that's not in right now is is Joe Jacoby, I believe. So who's not in the Hall of Fame. I would rather want to put the Hall of Hogs in, man. But just one spot. But all right, he would represent the Hogs, I guess, man. It'd be Russ Grimm.
Okay.
Darryl Green will be another guy like
Yeah.
that. He's like the fastest man. You can't.
Played
He's
for
like,
like 50 years. It felt like.
and he's still out there doing things where it's like, dude, like, how are you still able to function like that? He's still a
Right.
fast guy. He's still faster than your average guy at the age that he is right now, like 60, like 50, like he's I think like 60, he's $60 on us right now, and he can beat both of us in the foot race. Like, that's
For
crazy.
sure. For sure.
Um, so we got what, Darryl Green, and I say Russ Grimm, man, that which is crazy because it's funny I'm putting them on my Mount Rushmore, but then Joe Gibbs, man, will be another spot, be
Okay.
the third because of his success, man, as a coach. I was a Giants fan during a good chunk of that, so I watched it like firsthand. But again, we had Lawrence Taylor, man. Like it was like having Superman. Like that's cool. You got a good team, but we got Lawrence Taylor. Like that was
Right.
just
Yeah.
as a kid, and that's your hometown guy. Like it's just weird. It's just weird to see somebody be able to do that and have that effect on you. And he didn't
And
even
on cocaine.
and he was all drugged. Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say it. He didn't even know he had a game. Like, oh, these kids look up to me. That's crazy. Like, that's
I read
that's
I
wild.
heard him saying a interview once. He said, I didn't even know there was a game. I
Right.
thought the game was like, he's like, I didn't know. I was driving by the stadium, just saw a bunch of motherfucking cars there.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
was like,
oh,
what the hell? What the hell they doing over there? Over there, they was like,
yeah.
oh man, you didn't know you played today. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's one of the funniest things I ever heard in sports. Like,
Imagine that happening today, though. Like, in today's world, like, it'd be insane. Like, he couldn't do that. You know what I mean?
the kids, the things these people do now. Nah, that's not. I don't think that anybody will make it through the drugs that they use now. That's outside of what
Oh,
normal
no, I just
people.
meant like him showing up late to a game and this be like, you know what I mean? Like that would be national news and they would want to crucify him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because Anthony Edwards had to take a dump, so
Right.
that was major news, which is
Right.
crazy. So
Right.
that, yeah, I mean, you got a point. Yeah, that you can't. Got to be a
Yeah.
professional, man.
Yeah. And just look at him now, man. I mean, it's wild because it's like, it's so. Sports is wild in general because you have people like LT who probably really obviously never took care of his body, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like lived a certain lifestyle and was out doing drugs and everything else and is elite, right? Like one of one. And then you have somebody look at like LeBron James who strictly takes care of his body or those type of there's a lot of athletes today like they don't Tom Brady, right? Like Tom Brady. He don't eat just he's fucking eating avocado fucking ice cream and just doing this. It's just like that's and like how it's just like damn man, like he's not doing that shit. It's just it's wild and he's like one of one all at the same time. It's just two different perspectives and like how they how they handle it. But goats are gonna do goat shit.
All right, so that kind of when you talked about another guy who was like that, who I became a fan of, and that's the last guy on my Mount Rushmore, Dexter Manley.
Okay.
Dexter Manley was a he got kicked out the league, but he was on that same type of thing like Lawrence Taylor was doing, but he got I guess they had different rules for him. But man, he was a dominant rusher, man. I think he still is the single season sack leader. So, for their team. So that's what could have been, man, with Dexter Manley. I said what? Dexter Manley, Joe Gibbs, Russ Grimm, and Darrell Green.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sad that you can only do 4 people, but as far as like who I got to watch, like Clinton Portis was could have easily been on my because he was he was only like what 600 yards maybe from being the career rusher for the franchise. I think
Yeah.
Riggs still has that record, so he wasn't far. So like he could have easily been on my Mount Rushmore if he would have been. But we never had a running back either. I haven't really seen Riggs.
Yeah.
So that I didn't watch him. When I started watching, I became a Commanders fan. Uh, Mark Rippon ended up pretty much being the quarterback, and
Yeah.
that's
That's what I remember about the time he won the Super Bowl.
right. And that's I don't know. I don't know. I would say Doug Williams, but I never watched. I didn't watch him win the Super Bowl. When he
Right.
did,
Yeah.
and him be actually making the history that he did. Like he would easily be one as well. But as far as like who I watched, Dexter Manley as a Giants fan, like I heard his name so much. It was crazy. That guy was a menace. So it's like these are guys that I actually got to watch and like Darrell Green, like I said, man, he's half man, half amazing type dude, fastest man out there. Still today can pull something off that we can't. Um,
Yeah.
like I said, Joe Gibbs, and then Russ Grimm, man. I want again the Hogs. That was a big thing, man. That led to them having those 3 championships, man. In that time frame. But Russ Grimm.
Okay. Here's my 4. Commanders, I always think Darrell Green, whether it's Redskins, Commanders, you got Darrell Green's got to be on the list, right? Like he's your number one. He's like the franchise player, I think, of. I mean, this man he's 4-time Super Bowl champion, all with the Commanders. So he was part of the Commanders Super Bowls, every one of them, which is wild.
Yeah.
So I have Art Monk, who I caught the end of his career. So I have him as 2. I have Joe Gibbs as my number as the coach to be on there. I feel like he's just been the greatest coach. Did catch some of his into his career as well. And then my number 4, I didn't really get to see the Hogs. I felt like that was more the 80s instead of the early 90s. I caught the tail end. So I'm actually gonna go with out of the last, I'm almost 40, so let's just say 35 years or so. I I have a hard time, but I'm gonna say Chris Samuels, left tackle, 6-time Pro Bowler. So
Yeah, good guy, man. I've actually met him. We was huge dude, man. Like him, he kind of compares to me to as like kind of similar to Trent Williams.
right.
It's I wish we would have never let him go. You know, it's a money thing, but at the end of the day, like yeah, I always hated to see him go.
So,
That dude was a freak of nature.
some honorable mentions that Sean Taylor obviously, but didn't quite have like the long career that you kind of needed. It was obviously suddenly cut short, unfortunately, but he was on his way. London Fletcher had a great career after he left the Rams and was with the Commanders for a long time. Uh,
Absolutely.
Ryan Kerrigan, like he had didn't quite put it, had some good years, but didn't quite put it all together. Santana Moss had some good years. You mentioned it, Clinton Portis. Alfred Morris was right there as well. Like some guys that had some good years in Commander uniforms.
Phenomenal year that he had that we actually won the division like that. That was him to be the leading rusher. What 6th round pick?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. That was crazy to see. Kind of hurts, man, to see him a short career that he had. But it seems like that happens though. Guys come out of nowhere like that. It
yeah, they have
seemed
like two
kind
or
of
three good years and then they just disappear.
yeah, but hey, it was still good to see him come out of nowhere driving the 626 from city to city. You know what I'm saying? Doing his thing. Like that story was crazy as far as what the 626 that he had and he refurbished and drove it around. That was funny.
So
But
yeah, you got any other honorable mentions you want to mention?
I mean, well, I guess if I can't say the Hogs, man. If I can't say the Hogs, then I take Russ Grimm out of there. Um, Art Monk is definitely a guy, a part of what 3 Super Bowls I want to say. Uh, Leader receiver, I want to see still should be. And it's crazy that we don't have a lot of positions you would think we have had a guy to like Dexter Manley has a single season sack record,
Yeah.
record. You would think that would have been top by now, but it's been a lot of guys since then. We had LeVar Arrington, had Kerrigan, we
Oh
had.
man, LeVar Arrington. Yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of weird,
That
like,
was at
but
the end of his career, though, right? I feel like he with the Giants. Y'all drafted him? Then he went to the Giants. I can't
he,
remember.
yeah, we drafted him. He went to the Giants,
Okay.
and then I want to say he went somewhere. He went. Did he end up?
He was a
No.
stud in college.
The crazy thing about it was everybody wanted Courtney Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. He went to the Browns.
Yeah, everybody wanted Courtney Brown, and LeVar Arrington was just a pop guy. People just thought, like yeah,
Yeah.
he can, we everybody wanted Courtney Brown, and he had a
They
pretty
got it
good
right that
career.
time. They got it right
Yeah,
there.
right. But as far as other guys,
Had Dana Stubblefield for a little while.
did we do that along the time when we had? I want to say we got Dion, we got
Yeah.
yeah, that
Bruce
was
Smith. You guys had the retirement home for a while.
it was crazy. That was when you looked at those names. I want to say that was 99. That
99,
was
like 2000, maybe 2001
yeah,
or somewhere around there, probably. Yeah.
but it was you got Dion, Bruce Smith, you got I think we still had did we have Mitchell back there? Return plus we had a lot of guys, man, that was like it's over. Like it is
Yeah.
over. What are we doing?
Let's just pay their money. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't look
Snyder.
like
That was Dan Snyder. Yeah.
yeah, Dan Snyder sucked, man. He tried like in the beginning, you couldn't hurt him from trying. You couldn't hurt him
Yeah.
for trying.
And then he quit trying.
But now when you saw RG3 get drafted, I always say it's funny. Kirk Cousins was in the same draft. Kirk Cousins was a part of that. I forgot how this game ended because there's been so many games that ended like that. but not for Michigan State. I forgot what happened in that game, but it was like he had some famous game that he threw like a tip pass or something. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
think it was actually against Iowa, to be honest with you. I
I
remember
forgot
it.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
some freak of nature game that he was a part of, and like that's the only thing he was new for. You know, he was
Yeah.
a good quarterback, but it was like that's everybody knew him for that. But to see them draft RG3 number 2, and then right behind that, you see them draft Kirk Cousins. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, somebody's back there fighting over which Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins. Damn, Dan Snyder wanted RG3.
Yeah, he told him not to draft him.
Right. And it's
And then
just
I think even after his rookie year, it said we should trade him. Kurt's better.
it's it's unfortunate to see your team in limbo like that. Like things like you like, what?
Yeah.
You know, as a
Everybody's got to
fan,
be collectively on the same page. It can be the same fucking, you know what I mean? Like everybody, the coach, owner, GM, all need to be locked in step together.
and then
That's
later in his
how
career,
winning's done. You know,
you know what they say? They say when how you found somebody is how you gonna lose them.
yeah,
But I feel the sort of the same way. Like Kirk Cousins, it was end up being the guy bought in. He ended up winning the job in the long run, but of course, like he got off like a fat cat. But then you have him in his latter part of his season where he's brought into Atlanta, give him this huge deal. Hey, yeah, your wife's from here. Yeah, cool, man. You home. And then and the next thing you know, in the spring, they draft a quarterback. It's
right.
like double. So it's just it's funny to see how some careers come kind of full circle in a way.
Yeah, now he's going to be probably the mentor to Mendoza.
He wants that job, man. A lot of people are saying that, like he's there for the starting job.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the starter for 6 or more games. I think maybe majority of the season if he's healthy.
He wants it. He wants a chance, man. And I think it's crazy because Kirk Cousins, to me, if you really look at it, when you look at what he put together in Washington, yes, the you like that game was amazing, right? But I really feel like his stats didn't pop off until he got with Justin Jefferson.
Oh,
You know,
agreed. Yeah. Great talent. That and he's still not. He's a middle of the road. Like he's not a guy that I feel like ever felt like that's the guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl.
right. But it's just that thing with me where it's that's what you get.
Yeah.
When we had him. I mean, he threw a pick in the end zone every game. Every big game, he'll throw a pick and you get all the way. He'll take like 12-minute drive, just going down the field, and then get in the damn red zone and throw a pick in the end zone, man. Game over.
That's Kirk Cousins football.
That was Kirk Cousins football with the Commanders. Before the you like that game, we was like, we can't trust him, man. We can't trust him. And
Yeah.
then, brought on the you like that game. So
Yep. You like that. Jay, I like hanging out with you, brother. It's been a pleasure. Tell the people where they can find you.
hey man, you know what we doing on once again on the Rec Room Sports Hub on YouTube. We do Thursdays. We have starting back up in around the 23rd. We're going to be on ESPN 690 AM, Jacksonville. Well, again, once again, also on YouTube. So y'all check us out then. And then we'll be doing In the Hoops on Fridays. And we do betting for you lock it in. You got Tanner, Scott, and Allen pretty much get together for your betting show on the weekends. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll be on the hiatus, man. I always say that, and then I end up still being home. But it's finally about that time where I'm gonna pretty much hit the road. I'm gonna be doing some work, driving on these interstates, but at the same time, man, I'm gonna get to try and get to some sporting events, man, while I'm out there. And that's the life, man. Life in paradise for me.
Jay, I appreciate you joining us. You guys can in the description of this show is a link to the Rec Room Sports. Please check out their stuff. Jay and the boys do great stuff. Obviously, Wit's on there a lot with and then Tanner and Scott, who you guys have all seen on this network as well. So on this channel as well. So other than that, folks, man, it's been a great episode of the Bodkins Show with my guy Jay, the M.I.C. I'm Bodkins. This has been great. Y'all have a blessed week. Hopefully, it's the best week of your life. We'll catch you. I'll be back talking MMA up with Head Kicks and Haymakers Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Me and Bobby got a lot to talk about. UFC 324 or 327, I think it was. I don't even know. Absolutely fucking delivered. It was an incredible night of fights. So we'll be talking about that on Wednesday night. So we'll see you then, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Have a great week. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, fans. Thanks for watching.